Okay, hello guys. We are back with another video, season 4, episode 8 of Superman and Lois. And this is what I've been waiting for so long, and I bet so many of you have once we got the rumors of Tom Cavanaugh. And I guess everyone thought he was going to be Brainiac, but he is another DC character that we will talk about later. You probably already know if you've seen the episode, but if you haven't, we'll talk about it once he appears. But the episode starts with Lex getting a nice dapper suit. The camera starts low and goes up. And if you didn't know, this is Michael Cudlett's. Is this the first thing he's directed? I'm not sure about that, but he did direct this episode, and Michael Cudlitz is who plays Lex, if you didn't know that either. But we start with seeing his suit. And then I thought it was funny is the music or the score in the background here, it was his main theme, but changed a little bit. I'll let y'all listen to it here.
Not bad.
And then they say that they want to get the whole world on their side in this episode, and they will try and do that. We go back to the Kent house where I guess the DOD is keeping looky-loos away, they call them, since the identity of Clark and the families out there, there's people outside the Kent house. But Lois says she will be getting a scan, and she's got scan-anxiety for cancer to see if it's all gone and to see if she can do reconstruction surgery. The boys both say that they're being texted, that they're the super twins. But after this, we go back to Nat and John Henry are in this episode, which is great. And Nat says she's gonna go see a movie, but they realize she really doesn't have time for it because she has schematics and has to work for the DOD. And she's talking about having to change jobs. And kind of this situation where Nat and John are kind of stuck in somewhere they don't want to be. I guess it's not necessarily that they don't want to be in this spot. It's just that they know they're burdened with this responsibility. I'm grouping them together, but this is more Nat feels a little burdened with this responsibility, and this is what she should be doing. But she feels like she's trapped and there's no other choice. But after this, they hear that there's a vehicular accident nearby. John Henry and Nat get in their suits. They find this vehicular accident, which is this car flipped. They help the man out and they stop the fire. And that we get nothing about that for a little bit. We then go to John and Jordan, who are in public at a mart with Denise. She thinks that she calls them celebrities now, which they kind of are. There's a huge group of people kind of freaking out at the movie theater, and they don't know why. But as soon as John and Jordan walk out of this mart and they get recognized, they all scream and kind of run toward them. And then one of the extras said, "Jordan's so hot." I mean, it's a little hard to hear, but try and hear it here. Yeah, so I guess they think Jordan's hot, but they get out of there. We then go to Lois, who did her scan, and she complains about freaking waiting because it's the CW. And we learned that she is okay, no cancer. She can get her reconstruction surgery. She's done with the treatment, and it's time for Bazoombas again, which is good news, good news. I don't really see why they would need to bring back the cancer with 2 episodes left. So no surprises there, but it's still good to hear. But then we see an interview on the TV with Lex Luthor and someone else, Tom Cavanaugh. Lex Luthor, Tom Cavanaugh. I freaked out in this moment. They are interviewing about Lois lying to the world and that Lois is, I guess, a bad person. But we go back to this to see this interview. Lex does a lot of lying. He says that the reason he moved to Smallville, wanted to bring Luthor Corp to Smallville, is to bring jobs to Smallville, that he tried to apologize to her and that she's evil. And then in this moment, I was like, he's really petty, huh? This is a petty Lex Luthor. He's been so petty this entire season. But yeah, he's petty. But we get the reveal on who Tom Cavanaugh's character is here, and it is Godfrey, a character from the DC Comics. Godfrey in the comics has this power, kind of an ability of persuasion, and his speaking voice, overwhelming speaking voice is what they say about him in the comics, and that he he's a speaker. But in Smallville, he was in the TV show Smallville in the final season as well. He worked for Darkseid, and he used his voice as well to have a broadcast, just as he does here. So I don't think that they're giving him anything super in this show, and I don't even know if we'll see him again. But yeah, obviously Lois and Clark hear about this. They talk. Lois says she's got the truth on her side, and they consider debating him on live TV because that's what he asked at the end of this interview. Lex asked Lois to come debate him live tonight, but they decide not to because they think that Lex is trying to debate out Lois because they're scared that Otis is going to testify against Lex any minute now, and they want to get Lois kind of on TV before Otis testifies. But they decide to not debate Lex on TV, and instead of writing an article as a rebuttal, Clark says he'll proof it because she has some colorful language normally. But they also say that now everyone knows he's Superman, they can just fly together, and they go and fly. And just the little moments like that make me love this show. We get Nat and the boys together, paying attention to the movie schedule. I guess they hadn't picked out a time for the movie yet. They're going to go to the movie. But then John gets a message that Candace has broken up with him. That's it. That's that whole scene. Then we go to a scene with Amanda and Lex in a room together where Amanda's like, "You're handsome." And then kind of like says, "I see the way you look at me. I think we both want the same thing." And it's like a little weird. I mean, their whole kind of chemistry or romance has been a little like it's kind of weird because it's like evil romance, and it's kind of like what am I looking at? This is it's not pretty to look at, like Clark and Lois. We get Lois at the Gazette with Clark and John Henry. We learn that Otis is dead here. That Otis hanged in the in the prison he was in, I guess, and it's either a suicide or Lex got him killed. I mean, I'm guessing Lex got him killed, but I mean, I guess they couldn't show it on screen, but like, I mean, Otis has been around a bit. It's kind of like, oh, he's dead, all right. But Clark says that she has a lot of profanity in her article. But as they're standing there, a brick comes through the window, and they actually messed this up. Unless I'm looking at it wrong, Lois, it kind of looks like the actress for Lois is trying to stand still, but you can see her hand like start to move. I feel like this is like they told her to stand still, like it's slow motion, but she kind of like the camera framing didn't help her. But let me know what y'all think. That's what I think. But a brick comes through the window. Clark gets it and then protects Lois, and the brick has the word liar written on it, presumably with Lex's new interview, and maybe Lex sent that person. I don't know. After this, Lois says that he'll keep sending people, whether it be more bricks or bombs, and she's going to debate him. Clark's not happy with this decision, but he's rolling with it. But John Henry tells him, like, that brick, you didn't hear that coming till it already went through the window, man. You normally hear that before. Let me run some tests. And then this is after Lois had already left the Gazette, but Lois comes back in a few seconds later and says, "We flew here together," which is just another hilarious scene because she obviously was leaving the Gazette to go drive away, but they flew here together. And just little moments like this, I'm telling you, is why the show's so good. But we go back to Godfrey's show, and we see that the producers want Lois any minute now, and Amanda's like, "We'll get her, don't worry." And then we get the Milton reveal. Amanda calls Milton, and it was the same guy that John Henry and Natalie had saved from the car. And Milton's finally here. Brainiac is actually casted and here. We go back to John, who explains that Candace broke up with him because of an online situation where she's being harassed and certain comments. And what I was saying during this, I mean, I've never liked Candace, but Candace, just get off social media. Like, just get off social media. And not to mention, breaking up with him won't stop people from harassing you online. It's just like, she wasn't thinking. I don't know. She's not very smart. But we get Lex back at this production at the Godfrey show. It's still getting sort of made, and he starts to to kind of freak out. He starts to hear things more clearly. He hears people talking. He hears people moving the globe. He's hyper fixated on his entire environment around him until he kind of like freaks out, I guess, or until it all builds up. And he says, "No, we're canceling the show. I can't do this." And he explains that too much is out of his control. And we know this for Lex. He wants everything to be in control. And in this situation, it is not. But Amanda says, no, we're doing this. Trust me, I figured this out. We're doing this. And this is, again, another example of Amanda kind of guiding him to this place of reason. Because without her, the last few episodes, Clark and Lois or whatever would have already defeated him. But she's kind of helped him and been his like inner voice. But we go back to John Henry, who's ran the tests on Clark, and has seen his inner ear arteries, I believe, have shrunk, that his heart has regenerated less or something like that, and basically says you shouldn't use your powers, or I guess every time you use your powers, your body kind of loses them, and that over time, one day you were going to wake up with no powers. And this is, again, what we've talked about before on this channel, that the series is probably going to end with Clark Kent retiring, hanging up the cape, living a good human life with Lois, and the boys stepping up as the new Superboys and Supermen of the world. And then Clark flies Lois to the debate in Metropolis, and this is kind of funny, and if any of you saw the teaser video that I broke down for this episode, I was kind of fixated on who the heck was flying, but it was Clark, and I thought it was John Henry or maybe the boys or Lex in a suit, but yeah, it was Clark. But I guess he was just wearing his normal clothes. Amanda and Lois talk, I guess, and Godfrey goes up to Superman and says that Janet Olsen struck gold with the interview with him. And it's funny, his last episode, I was wondering how she profited from that interview that she must have. But he also tells Lois that this is television, not print, and she needs to get some makeup, I guess. And then the debate starts between Lex Luthor and Lois Lane. They first talk about the fact that Lois says she never knew Pia until the cancer, and Lex says you knew Pia your whole life or whatever. They go back and forth in this amazing debate. It was actually very entertaining to watch. They both kind of go at each other, and it's not like anyone's winning until Lex pulls up a camera evidence of a fight, of the fight between Clark and him when the red solar flares were on, and it doesn't look good for Clark here. Then we go back to Jonathan trying to get Candace back by going to her door. I mean, she was annoying, like Sarah's gone, but now we still have Candace. But she was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with the social media or whatever. Like, I don't understand how, like, these social media comments would stop you from being with someone you love, I guess. Like, I guess just get over it. It's kind of my mindset. I don't know if that's too harsh, but they do talk. And then we get to a conversation with Jordan and Natalie, where they talk about not being able to go back in situations. And this theme is prevalent in this series a lot, and it's also prevalent in this episode with Natalie feeling like she can't go back on her responsibility and this new job she has at the DoD. But Candace does get back with Jonathan here, and Jordan makes her realize that you can change your life. There is going back. You can change. You're allowed to make that decision, even if it looks like it, even if you're supposed to have this duty, there is a way. And I thought that was pretty great. The debate continues, and it looks like it's in Lex's favor, except when Lois says she has Elizabeth, his daughter's phone number, that she can call her on live TV right now. But while this is happening, Amanda tells Milton to activate something, a protocol, in which Milton Brainiac hacks John Henry's living area and hacks the suit, and then they cut, I guess. But we come back from commercial break to see Brainiac literally stealing this Lex suit, or this suit for Lex, I guess, or John Henry's suit. He forces John Henry in it and flies it through the sky. Jordan comes back from Mykonos, I guess, and Nat's suit comes for them. It's a hijacked suit. They fight while Clark fights John Henry's suit. Clark, I guess, like flies out of the building where the debate was to go help John Henry, kind of by destroying his suit, I guess, or getting his power down on his suit. They also fight Nat's suit, and as they go through this battle, Candace gets tossed, and John and Jordan both laser eye the suit until it gets melted, which was kind of sad. They cooked her suit. But during this battle with Clark and John Henry, John gets kicked out of his suit. Clark has to catch him, and they let the suit get away. After we come back from commercial, we get Godfrey talking to people, saying the debate is over, and that during Lois's supposed evidence that Superman left and ruined the rest of the debate, which is convenient timing to use this against her. They set this up, obviously, but obviously Clark had to go help. They did not set this up. She had real evidence, but now the world now has sympathy for Lex, more sympathy than they ever had. That's what Amanda comes in and tells him at the balcony, and Lex says, "You were right. We both want the same thing," and they start kissing. And for a second here, I was wondering if he was gonna push her off the railing, because they were outside. For some reason, that's what I felt like, maybe, but they do kiss, and it's this, like I said, this evil romance. It's just kind of weird to look at, but yeah. Then we get the boys coming back home. Jordan says maybe he's finally starting to like Candace. I'm definitely not. But Clark tells the boys that he's not going to be as strong as he once was. Not only that, but he'll lose his powers one day. And John is crying in this scene, which I think was great, because he starts to cry before he says what actually happens. He says his heart isn't paired with his body or whatever, and then John starts to cry. Like, I feel like this was a genuine reaction of John thinking that Clark had worse news for them, but still it is sad, and the boys are gonna have this new responsibility. But then the camera pans back to see their I guess basket in the middle of their table with apples. Again, they always have apples. But then we get a final scene with a cool shot from above the glass here that goes down into the subway or whatever where they hang out, and we see that Brainiac has made Lex a new killer suit that looks so sick. I hate it. I love it though. And then we get Lex and Amanda holding hands at the end. Weirdly, it's again, weird romance. But yeah, that's the episode. Now we'll be breaking down the series penultimate, second to last episode teaser tomorrow. You guys won't want to miss that. And thank you guys so much for watching these videos. It means a lot. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.